Investing Insights with Right Property Group, exploring trends in real estate and helping property investors gain financial security.
G'day folks, and welcome to Property Investing Insights. This is the installment without the bludger Phil on this, and this is where I get all of my successful clients from all walks of life to share their story. And obviously we've got the vodka here ready to go.
Absolutely.
And I actually had to strong arm this person to come in here, and you'll get the joke when we do talk about his business. But Scott Dillon, we've been working together since 2015, and it's been a journey, hasn't it?
It sure has, mate.
Yeah, and you're local in New South Wales, obviously, and from memory, you own a couple of gyms and also have a very strong online presence in terms of personal training with corporates.
Yeah, it's going well for me. Touch wood.
Yes.
It's really good to help some guys.
Has COVID helped with and impacted gyms?
I think it did, yeah, but I think we're just like a little bit grateful and fortunate during COVID. Like we'd already been fairly established, so like a lot of our clients supported us through that period, and we came out the other end, and we're still here. Touch wood. So things are going good.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and obviously COVID's helped us rethink, restructure, and relook at how we do things, not just investing, family, business, and that, right? So let's talk about family. What's the family unit? Yeah,
I've got a beautiful wife, Araha. Her boost juice name is Amy, because most people can't say it properly. And beautiful son Parker. He's 3 in another three months' time, and he's basically a little firecracker dressed up as the most beautiful little human in the world. But he's precious. And it's wonderful. Yeah. And so obviously you started the journey well before family and all that, right? Yeah. So take me through the portfolio, the size, just so that the listeners can gather the experience behind what you're going to talk about. Because the intent is that obviously we want to share your decision-making process. We want to share how it's impacted both business life and your personal development as well. And the tips and advice and recommendations you'd give to the listener who's got a portfolio, looking at starting a portfolio, or even getting down the stage of, okay, what do I do next? So let's talk about how you did get started. Yeah, mate, to be honest, like, I'm good at maybe coaching people in that area, but when it comes to this area, like I have no idea whatsoever. And I knew that from the get-go. Like I was brought up thinking, to save all my hard-earned money, buy your house eventually, and then like that's pretty much it. And I'd always hear of some successful people, like, having some properties and things like that. And I just didn't even know how it was even possible. And I think one of my mates, he took me to, I think it was the Ridges at Parramatta a very, very long time ago when I had less grey hairs in my beard. And I just sat there and I was around like a whole bunch of people that just looked like everyday guys and girls. And I just had a think, and I was like, I could possibly hang out here a little bit more, and I might be able to be one of them. I never thought like things would be how they are now. Just the thought of maybe having one and just would, skyrocket me with what I thought I could potentially do. And I think it was, when was it, 2015 or 2016, something like that. That was a long time ago. I was a little boy, but I dipped my foot in it, and it was what you think it's going to be like. It's not, and especially like having someone like yourself and your team in my corner just guiding me, it just takes the pressure off. It's been great.
Yep. So you mentioned something really important over here, right? Which I want to expand a bit more. Yeah. You mentioned that what you think it's going to be and what it becomes is two different things. So how did that unfold, and what was the initial thought process?
It's like what you hear. The only story you really, that's why I'm pretty out of my comfort zone being here, but there's what you think is going to happen. It's not the case. You think you're going to get an investment property, you're going to get a tenant in there, they're going to pull all the gyprock down, it's going to turn into a rubbish dump, you're not going to be able to get any rent, and if you do rent it out, it's probably going to be vacant for the next 6 months. You're going to lose all your money, and it's like it's over. Like, why would you even consider doing that? It's like trying to get the latest like cryptocurrency or something like that. And then like I still speak to guys now, I've sent a few across, but like they're just worried about the potential outcome from all these things they hear. But like when you do it correctly and with the right people in your corner, it's very, I wouldn't say it's what would I say? It is easy. Yeah, 100%.
So it's more the fear of the unknown, the fear of the commitment initially. And then you realize, actually, you didn't do one. And actually, that's not so bad, right?
100%.
Then just like you would in personal training, in the initial stages, you just don't see any results, right? You think, why am I going through this pain?
Well, that's one thing I just like wanted to mention, because people, just because you can do something and it's easy to do it, doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's not, like, it's hard to save for a property. I'm not disputing that. But right now, if you've got some savings, if you've got a pre-approval, you can go out and you can get whatever you want. You can pay for it pretty easy.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. Just like right now, any person could go join a gym.
Yep.
But they don't know what they're doing. 2 weeks later, they don't see any results, or they have a bad experience. They're not going to go back. It's not that the gym's not for you, just don't know what you're doing. Likewise in this area, and I've been very fortunate to have you guys help me out.
That's a fantastic analogy, right? So everyone's got access. If you take the gym, right, everyone's got access to the same equipment in there. But the results are different when you've got someone actually guiding you to say, okay, use it in this sequence, or use it in these reps, or don't use this machine because you're trying to build. If I can stray into your territory, trying to build your pecs. That's the only one I know. And therefore you don't use this machine. Don't use the legs.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. So and property is no different, right? And you need to know where to start, what types to start to build up towards that. All-encompassing usage of all the machines in the gym, or you may not have to use all of them.
And it's just about in, just like, once again, it's like all those other areas you often don't think about. Like your broker, your accountant, which are like such an integral part of the process. And it's the same thing. You can go to the gym all the time, but if your nutrition, if you're not like sleeping well, like you're banging your head against the wall.
Yeah. So there's very strong parallels between the two modalities, right? So we started with units, obviously, because in the beginning, capital was a little bit of an issue, but we wanted to dip our toes in. So from memory, we started with Queen Band, didn't we?
Yeah, we got two at the same time, right? I think they were I can't even remember now. I think they were like within the course of a month.
Yep.
We got Queanbeyan and Slacks Creek. And they just sort of plodded along.
Yes,
nice and slow. I think we got into Queensland fairly early, so there wasn't much growth initially. But now, we're in a good place.
Yeah, for the listeners, so Queanbeyan is just on the outskirts of ACT. It's regional New South Wales, but we're tapping into the ACT clientele demographics and so forth. And Slacks Creek is in Queensland. And you're right? These two properties didn't break any records in the initial stages in terms of growth, but the cash flow was very manageable. And we got into the market at the
100%.
time.
And there was like no expectation for it to be like a quick win. It was just simply just get in there.
Yep. And then from there, we obviously diversified into properties with a bit of land, and then we got into other areas of Queensland where we were targeting land where we could get some secondary dwellings on, and that obviously in the initial stages, that too didn't see any major spurts of growth because we were buying it at the lower end of the cycle.
I think it was just a good experience. Like after those first two, started to have a bit more understanding of what I could potentially do, because I had no idea. Like people think that I might be just bunging that on, but like I had no idea what I was doing. And then just speaking to my accountant and yourself, and then just getting an idea of like, well, there's other purchases we can do, and we don't have to wait for the market to do its thing. We can manufacture our growth by doing a build or putting a duplex on or something like that. So I think we got in to Marsden and
Woodridge.
Woodridge. And just being able to purchase them already like with a tenant in there, but then having the ability to build a granny flat on them.
And have you built a granny flat?
On both of them. The same deal, just giving you the guidance, like we're wanting a property where this can happen, and your team knows what to do, what to look for. So it's not me just thinking there when I can see on the backyard it looks pretty big, I can whack something on there. Like being able to have that that foresight and just trust to know that what I'm purchasing there is going to be able to allow it to happen.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep. And obviously, the reason for putting the granny flats on was to taper down the negative cash flow.
Yeah.
And certainly also bring in the efficiencies within the portfolio, because now you're not necessarily paying, well, you're definitely not paying stamp duty in terms of getting the next rental income stream, because you're actually building the rental income stream. And you're not necessarily paying a fee to the buyer's agent to source a property, because you're going straight to the builder. And it puts you into a stronger position from a lending perspective as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so what was the next foray after that?
What did we do after that? I think after that, I got married with my beautiful wife, and we went down to the south coast near Milton, Ulladulla. And there's a whole heap of land there, and it was super cheap, and it just didn't make sense. So I purchased that land just to sit on it, and we just, was it now coming up to two years ago, built a duplex on that, and that's gone really well for me.
Yeah, and so as you've gone through this investing process, you've started to develop the eye for opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Because you could see it working, and you've already got these properties under your belt, so this is not foreign territory. No. There was a bit of going backwards and forwards with me in terms of, okay, do I build or don't I build? Yeah. And the from memory, the encouragement was get that out of the way first, get the build out of the way first before we start then adding onto the portfolio.
I think that's important, like to bring up. Like we've spoken a lot of times over the past 10 years for like those portfolio reviews and whatnot. And when I come into that, I'm super keen to do something. And you run a business.
Yep.
But you don't approach it like that. Like you give me guidance of what I should or shouldn't do. And many times I get off that wanting to move forward and use your team for something else, and that doesn't happen just from like, the approach that you do. And I'm grateful for that. I don't think that would happen at many places.
Yeah. And for the record, I think we've only met physically twice, right?
I think so. Yeah. We see each other across on a Zoom.
Yeah, that's it. Computer. That's it. Yeah. Or it's on the phone. And usually when I've got a property, it's usually a text and a quick phone call to say here's the rationale behind it, and that the team does the rest. And that obviously for the first one that wouldn't have happened, right? Because you need to build up the expertise on your level, and bring it back to the gym analogy, right? So once you've got your routine set, you can practically do the warm-ups and all that before your personal trainer comes on. And it does save time. But it also gives you a lot more independence to also do your own stuff as well. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. And obviously with marriage, there was obviously greater priorities as well. So investing took a little bit of a back step at the time. COVID also came in at the time. We did that build in the South Coast in New South Wales, and then what happened from there?
Yeah, so we had our original place of residence in near Moorebank. That we built that originally. But that's one thing I forgot to bring up at the start. But due to my business and just knowing so many people around that area, it was not like I was a celebrity, but I couldn't go anywhere without seeing clients. So just to have a bit more of a personal life, we ended up renting that out. We moved to North Bondi and we sort of lived it up for a while, which was absolutely wonderful. But you can't be falling asleep on the beach and eating out every night when you've got a 2-year-old. So after that, we ended up when was it 2 years ago, coming up closely, we moved down to the South Coast near Bulli. And we purchased there, and like that house we purchased, I would never have been able to get that if it wasn't for what I've been doing with you guys.
So obviously now that you've got that big mortgage, it does obviously hinder a little bit on the borrowing capacity, especially today's assessment rates, right? So I think from memory we diversified into the self-managed super fund at that point, wasn't it? Yeah,
well, I knew that like most of my mortgages and whatnot I had, they were going to be coming off fixed rate around a year ago. But I still did have like a fairly decent borrowing capacity just before I purchased our place down south. So I just sort of went all in with what else I could get. So we got one in Bruce
that's right,
as well. That's already done quite well since we did it, and it was around this time last year. And then I don't think I could borrow enough to buy you a cappuccino after this. So then we got into the
you absolutely redlined your borrowing capacity with the Roos purchase, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I just knew like that what I have access to, that's not going to come around for a very long time, if at all. So we just went all in.
Yeah. So let's explore the decision making process on that, right? Because there was quite a bit of going backwards and forwards between you, me, and the accountant to make sure that we're not just painting ourselves into a corner, right?
Yeah.
Your thought process in terms of going all in, did you have a contingency in place?
Yeah, well, we've already discussed that with Manzurul and whatnot.
Yep.
We knew everything was good in that area.
Yep. No, fantastic. And obviously this was also again a potential secondary dwelling. It was an interesting property in the sense that there were a few warts on it.
there were. But lucky they were warts you could get rid of. So it was good. It was kind of just same deal. It was just a different experience, like everything else that I haven't had to go in and fix up at all.
Yeah.
This one we did. Get some professionals in there to fix it up and make it look a bit nicer. And same deal. Like when you gave me that market appraisal originally, like it came through. One of my mates who's a client said, "There's no way you're getting that," and I did question you guys with that one. And after we did the work, got my mate to go there, paint it, and rip the floors up and make it look a bit snazzy. We got what we wanted, and same deal. And it's now a year. It's come up for renewal. It's up like another significant amount.
Yeah, and this is important in terms of data, right? Because data could say one thing, but on ground knowledge is very different. Yeah.
Well, not even data. Like these are people that are actually in that industry. Like it's not just like my mate at a barbecue. That's the thing. Yeah, just gives more respect for you guys.
Yeah, and obviously, right. So this is where people do get tunnel vision, right? So with your portfolio, obviously, with the rents that you're getting and the rental increases. Often the property managers are only looking after that portfolio, and they then suggest $10, $20 increase. Whereas the market can sustain a whole lot more. Yeah. Have you had experiences in terms of obviously the management of the portfolio, and we'll talk about the SMSF in a minute, right? But the management of the portfolio, that the property managers suggesting a increase, whereas your knowledge and you're tapping into our knowledge as well. Is saying something totally different, higher or lower for that matter. Yeah,
well, just to divert before we go down there, just the importance of a good property manager. I had a bad one in Queensland, and it's just crazy the difference. Like we had a bloke in there, he was a drug addict and doing all sorts of stuff, but same deal. Like if that experience, you have rent insurance, and it sounds terrible, but it's like the outcome was completely fine. But then getting a good property manager on board that's actually focused on helping you out, not just the tenant, and most importantly not having like difficult conversations. It just changes the game. All of my property managers now, I still double check, but like when the rental review comes up, they're pretty accurate. Like each time, it's not just putting up $5 or something. Like it's in line with the market.
Yeah, and you also taking the due diligence in your own hands and jumping online and checking what.
Which I didn't do at the start because I had no idea. You can put the rents up.
It's important to always fact check the professionals, right? Because again, including myself, we can get tunnel visioned with what we do and forget to lift our head up and look at what's the greater world doing as well. So property management in that sense, and owning a larger portfolio than most, property management can become the make or break of it. Have you found after COVID that you've got quite a few turnover of property managers?
Touch wood, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're one of the few blessed ones.
I've been all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because generally, and this is something that's cyclical, right? When employment is at an all-time high, you tend to get the property managers to move out of the industry because there's similar jobs outside that they can do with less hassles, less stress.
Yeah, I don't envy their position.
Are there any close calls with tenants in terms of you did nip the problem in the bud very quickly, but it could have blown out significantly?
It did drag on for a little while, and the more unfortunate thing is the backing on where that tenant was, because he was a little bit of a loose cannon. The house that was backing on to that poor man, I think he got abused a little bit, and ended up getting a summons to court because apparently he was actually letting the managing agent know what's going on, and this poor guy thought that I was just getting all of his letters and ignoring him, which wasn't the case. So we ended up having another call with the judge, and him and I, the judge ruled in my favor because I had no idea. It was just the property manager wasn't doing their job. But since I found a lovely lady in Queensland now that looks after my stuff there, things have been great.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And so this becomes part and parcel of running a business, and property investing is a business where you do sometimes get sucked into the admin side of it and the more colorful side of things. You went down the court system. How much time did it suck away from you?
Not long at all. And it's like same deal. And I just want people that hear that it was a little bit stressful, but same deal. Like having the people in the corner to guide you through it. I was doing the right thing. I didn't really have anything to worry about, and just the importance once again, you have your insurances in place that takes the pressure off as well, just as that safeguard.
Yeah. So it's important not to be a slumlord to begin with.
Yeah.
Right? And then secondly is make sure that the professionals actually manage the portfolio rather than self-managing, because in this instance, had you been self-managing, that you'd been in all sorts.
Yeah, there was no way. Anyone that does that, I have no idea why that would be. That I wouldn't do it. No way.
No. I've been known to manage my own portfolio in the beginning years, and I can tell you, would not wish it on your worst enemy. In fact, it took Kate, I think, all of about 3 hours. Kate's my business manager. It took her all of 3 hours to sit down and map out. Okay, across my portfolio, there was about, I think, $21,000 or $22,000 in arrears.
Wow.
And that was purely because I was too busy to try and manage, right? And immediately we handed it over to professionals. So I would not recommend it. Personally managing it, especially with today's day and age of changes in legislation and all that. And so I guess the flow-on question from that is, how are you handling this digital noise of this change in tenancy laws and change in legislation and so forth?
I think it was it 2 years ago that everything was going to change in Queensland, and some people sold and what it's just part of things are always going to be changing.
Yep.
You just got to stay the course. Don't expect things to skyrocket overnight. Just keep plodding along.
That's it. Yeah. So obviously after Roos, you've then bought a few more properties. Where were they?
So we went to WA. We got into Queen's Park in the self-managed super funds, which was good. Something I'm not going to be able to touch for a while. It doesn't really seem like a priority, but as you're aware, the sooner you do that, the better.
Yep. And then we also now at the moment seriously looking at another one in the SMSF right now.
Hopefully we'll find out today or tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether our offer's been accepted or not. Yeah. So from a diversification point of view, right? So we started in regional New South Wales because that's where we could go.
Yep.
And the opportunity was there. So even though it was regional New South Wales, technically, if we ignore the border, it was actually metropolitan ICT. Yeah. We're pretty much 11 kilometers out of the heart of ICT. And then we went into Queensland. And we loaded up in Queensland because we got, I think from memory, 3 properties in there.
Yeah, and I also purchased just one on my own at Eagleby.
Yes. So 4 properties there. And then we came into New South Wales, which was actually against the trend, right? Because at that time, everyone was buying in Perth. And then we went in a different entity in Perth because the market was at a different phase over there. So it was not in an upswinging market. And now we're going into Victoria, right? So essentially you've got 2 of the fastest moving markets in your portfolio, which is New South Wales and Victoria. And then you've got a more stable, higher yielding area in your portfolio, which is Queensland, and we bought that at the bottom end of the cycle over there.
It's funny.
So-
You think about it now, and I always would hear this on podcasts.
Mhm.
Like, I think you were speaking to Phil.
Yes.
Back then, you were buying stuff around Campbelltown at all these different prices, and I'm like, that would be
insane to buy it there,
be
right?
amazing.
So,
Now
yeah.
I think back, what's happened in Queensland? Why didn't I just keep going in there? It's funny.
Yeah. And again, we were also trying to match the growth as well.
Yeah.
So as Queensland started becoming a bit more towards the top end, we exited out of that. So you've seen virtually 1.5 cycle in Queensland,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they're looking good.
Yeah, and then equally importantly, we were balancing it out because our initial conversation was we were lumping it all inside Queensland, and if that market stagnates, you've got all your eggs in one basket and you can't play the cycle game. And you still be very good in terms of investment, but there needed to be, especially as a business owner, there needed to be a strong exit strategy with an upswinging market. So you're always getting into the market at the lower end and exiting out. The only exception was Perth, where we actually got towards the tapering end of it. So around, say, 12 o'clock's the peak of the market. We got there around, say, 10 o'clock. But that's on a entity that's got a longer term view.
And that's still done. Like, I think the current appraisal, like, it's already moved like significantly since the past year.
Yeah.
So it's still, I'm still happy.
Yeah. One of the comments you made earlier was that you did what your parents told you to in terms of get a house paid off, that sort of thing. That was the initial approach.
Yeah.
How did you change that mindset?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, my dad was always, he's very, he's passed now, but he was very focused on saving. So just from that generation, he was pretty much older than I, and he had those like old sort of ideas which bestowed upon me. But I think it was honestly just going to those original seminars and just seeing what could potentially happen and recognizing that thought process might be a good option for some people that just want complete safety and just don't want to be touching anything or knowing anything and just sticking to that, and everyone to their own choices. But I just knew that it would be impossible to create what I've created by just working hard.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of Uber deliveries or anything like that. And I think it's just honestly being around people that help you see and expect more of like what's possible. To be honest with you.
Yeah. So you're with like-minded people, not necessarily on a Facebook group where everyone's a keyboard warrior. You're with actual doers, which then help you scale your portfolio.
Yeah, like when you think about it originally, you think, oh, this person that's doing all this investing, they're probably going to walk in with some blingy watch and driving just being around like regular people. The regular jobs and doing incredible things. And it's like, why can't that possibly be me, or just like a little sprinkle?
Yeah, and there were people that you met there that were earning less than you, but they're doing far better in the portfolio,
absolutely.
right? So,
and even right now, like I've come to a point where I feel like I've done fairly well, and I'm here to share that. But like with a lot of guys that I work with, they're very, very successful. Like 500 plus employees, and they really know how to make things crank. But when it comes to their asset base, like they don't have anything. And I also have guys younger than me, maybe plumbers or whatever. They're doing their own thing, working hard, very focused, just top notch guys. But also knowing like this opportunity they have that they're just sitting on, and then just being able to share that and let them. Like I don't open up with what I do, but with a few key people, like I see that sparkle in their eye and just help them understand like what can potentially happen. And you've been able to help out a few of those blokes already.
So speaking of plumbers, Jack, he's talking about you. I'll be crucified by Reshmi if I don't mention the Right on Track, which is the seminar that you're talking about.
Okay.
So then the next one, if you're in Sydney, it's on the 3rd of September at Parramatta Ridges. The details are on our website. Just jump on. You can book your seat in there. It costs you an enormous $15. And the $15 goes towards really more of your commitment to say, in the past we had everyone book in, and people doesn't show, right? So we thought we'll put a small barrier to get the like-minded people, and you get to meet clients like you mentioned, the clients and people that are just starting the journey, people that are on the tail end of the journey as well, and it's a good forum to come in. Yeah, I guess with all of this, from what you started to what the vision is now, there would have been a significant change.
Yeah.
Where is it heading now? What's the end play for you?
I think you can keep wanting more, but I think it comes to a point when if you keep wanting more, you're actually no better off than when you had nothing.
True.
So
True.
where I'm at right now, I'm very grateful for what I have, and I'm in a position now at my age where I can just sit and let time do its thing. I don't need to be chasing a certain number or anything like that. I just know what I've got relative to most people around me. It's pretty decent, and it allows that security for my family, and hopefully for my little boy when he gets a bit older, he might actually be able to have a place to live in.
And if you were to start this journey all over again, what would you do different?
I wouldn't do anything differently at all. Yeah, I think just I'll just probably trust. If I was speaking to Scott from 2000 and whenever it was, when he was a little kid, it was just like, just get the right people in your corner and trust them. Let them like pull you along, just like anything else in life. Because I think the biggest thing that holds people back is their head noise from what they tell themselves, like you mentioned before. Don't listen to Johnny in the barbecue when he's flipping his sausages and has no idea. Because Johnny doesn't know. And be careful who you listen to for guidance, because not all accountants are accountants, and there's plenty of buyers agents out there that probably don't have many properties either. So just speaking to people with experience, and just recognize that there's no reason why you can't have success with the right people around you. But that team is absolutely critical. Like even previously, when just before we purchased our place down south, and when I went and did a few other purchases, like one of my previous brokers told me this is how much, and then speaking to Aaron, my broker now, like that number just changed drastically magically from what and it's like,
and there's no difference in financials.
No, like, and he's not dodgy, or like it's all legitimate, but just knowing like what options are out there.
Yeah. So we started, almost a decade ago, right? So and so what's changed from an investing perspective? What's changed from 2015 till now in your experience, and how has that impacted decision-making processes?
It's just a numbers game, 100% numbers game. That's the best thing with my accountant now. I'm sure we all know who he is, but it's just math. That's all it comes down to. In all honesty, this equals that. Yeah. Right now it's equaling this when it's not doing anything, sitting in a bank account. It hurts a little bit when the thermometer goes down, whatever your safety level is. But numbers, and that's the thing.
So you're not expecting any crazy growth and crazy results in the beginning years, right? It wasn't going to be life changing in the first 12 months of investing. No. It's life changing in increments, right? And you can 100%. See the end result based on what you've seen so far in terms of a decade of investing.
I think one thing just to bring up, that the importance of how you are as an individual and the choices you make. So up until I got into property, one of my things, like I would get into shares, just blue chips, things like that. But it's very volatile, and sometimes those emotions can really impact you. So getting into a different asset class that is a bit more, it's obviously can go up and down, but it is a bit more stable, and it is a bit harder to get in and out, and it just takes the head out of the game a little bit. I think that's probably another key thing. Like there's so many people pulling you different directions, but just understand, I guess, how you are as an investor as well.
Yeah. So from a beginning investor, where the thought process and the fear was that the tenant will absolutely trash the place, and you won't get any rent, and it'll be unrented for weeks and months. And you actually went through that process with one of your tenants as well, where they did not necessarily trash the place, but made hard work, right? Made it hard work. How has that changed over the years? And talking to Scott, the novice investor, what would you tell Scott?
Get your first one, and then just same deal. It's numbers. It's not going to be vacant if the vacancy rate is top notch. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like we're purchasing something that only the person that goes to the Ritz-Carlton on holidays can live in. Like it's just a general property that a general person can live in. There's plenty of them right now, and just having the things for everything you're worried about. There is a thing that you can do to safeguard that. You're worried about something happened to the property. We'll get your insurance. You're worried about the tenant not being in there or whatnot, like get a good property manager, which you can steer us in the direction of. You're not sure where to purchase. Well, that's why you come in. And that's the same deal, yeah? Like this thing we spoke about at the start, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Like right now, I could quite easily go and purchase a property elsewhere, but I don't know where I should be looking, what I should be looking for, and if I was to look, I could definitely look, but the time for me to look relative to what else I've got going on, it doesn't make sense. And it's like just recently from the stuff that we've purchased last year, like it's already skyrocketed. Do you know what I mean? And there was an expense to initiate that, but it's already been paid for tenfold. And there's so many people that I speak to that 5 years ago they were looking at doing something,
and they're still looking.
They're still looking.
Yeah.
Like it's there's expenses and then there's costs. And it's like some things cost more than what the original expense was.
So the most expensive thing in property investing is getting cheap advice, right? Or getting someone that says, no, I'm not going to charge you money, but here's the property, right? They're making money from somewhere, right? So you're either overpaying for the property or there is some money changing hands somewhere in some shape or form.
Well, the analogy I give is like right now you can join a gym. It can cost you $7 or some crazy thing like that. But all the time that you're spending there with no outcome, chances are you're actually in a worse place than when you started. It's no difference with this. But there's so many guys that they're on $100, $200, $300 an hour. But if you look back how long they've been in the gym at all them hours, they've wasted so much time. And it's the same deal. The old Johnny that's got his business that he wants to get into property investment, but he doesn't want to pay a buyer's agent. He's wasted a lot more than that, coupled with his time and just the opportunity cost. Then it's crazy.
And one of the things that we consciously learned and did along the way running a business is that you are deliberate in not aggressively minimizing your tax because you wanted to maintain your borrowing capacity.
100%.
And this is where a good accountant comes in that's aligned to what you're trying to achieve rather than just being, okay, let's minimize tax.
That doesn't play well.
It doesn't play well, So, really important that we can't run a wealth accumulation scheme along with a aggressive tax minimization scheme. Obviously, you don't want to pay, more than what you should. But this is where your team came in, where you're talking to the broker, talking to the accountant, talking to me to make sure that everyone doing their part is aligned together to get you to your goal and not just doing piecemeal.
Like it's just having that. Everything needs to be working together because if it doesn't, it just there's the hesitation. Like even right now with what we've got going on, like if my broker isn't speaking to my accountant you at the same time, it delays and we can miss it.
Miss an opportunity.
It's as simple as that.
Or buy something that we shouldn't be buying as well. Right. So it goes both ways. You do run a online coaching system for performance, 365 performance. I can see in the t-shirt. You want to talk a bit more about that?
We have 2 gyms in southwestern Sydney, group training, personal training, and I just work with a whole bunch of busy professionals, business owners just around Australia. A lot of times they've built something rather incredible, but unfortunately their health and fitness has taken a bit of a downturn in the process. So I just help them fit everything in with their busy life, help them with their nutrition, training, everything that they need. I do like time audits on them, just help them make it work no matter what they've got going on with their travel and stuff like that. And been fortunate enough to have some incredible results and help these guys, and it's just good to be in their corner. Yeah,
absolutely. So if you wanted to explore Scott's service, and I can attest to the fact that he has got a fairly good clientele. We'll leave the links in the show notes, so just click on it, and it's called 365 Performance. Scott, any parting words of wisdom for our clients, any advice for our clients?
I think yeah, like right now I've been on a bit of a journey just trying to get other people and support them. I'm very happy with where I am now, and I'm much farther ahead than I ever would have imagined, to be honest with you. And just helping people understand that there's no reason whatsoever why you can't do the same. I'm just a regular guy. That's it. Like, and I think they're just seeing other people that could potentially miss out on being able to have this happen to them. I think it would be a great loss. So, and I can't help but thank you guys for everything that you've done. It's been terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your wise words, mate. So we did buy very slowly and methodically. It wasn't breaking any records, and the result happened in a decade. Some properties grew faster than we expected. Others did not grow as fast as we expected. That was part and parcel of the journey. Yeah. And here we are sharing our wisdom. So thank you, Scott. Really appreciate you coming in. Couple of announcements before we finish. If you wanted to attend our Right on Track, just go onto our website. It's called Right on Track. It's done in Parramatta here in Sydney. 3rd of September is the next one, and that's the first one we're doing face-to-face after COVID. We used to do the Facebook Lives, if you recall. We'd encourage you to attend. Also, in the show notes, I'm going to include the PIPA survey link, which if you've got the time, if you've got 15 minutes, if you can, please do the survey. It helps us take a voice down to the government with all of these changes that they're making in terms of tenancy laws and making investing a lot more harder for us. So if you can please spend the time to do that small survey, that'll help us a lot as an industry and as investors together. And of course, don't keep us a secret. Do share us. We share our podcast on whatever platform you're listening to, so that we can reach more people and make a difference in their lives. And until next time, it's bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature, does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs, and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.